Hello folks, I'm Ken Harris and we're going to do a little Mediterranean scene today and starting off with a ruler in my hand instead of a brush. The brushes I am using are pretty much standard, the 1.5 centimetre wide brush for general painting, a medium sized and small sized detail brush, a medium and small knife and a fan brush. But the reason I have the ruler is because we need to draw up this building down here and I'm going to make the building about 2 inches wide, and I say about 2 inches wide because it doesn't have to be necessarily 2 inches. You can make it 4 inches, you can make it whatever width you like. But I'm just going to run a line down there, and then that will be the side of the building, and the front of the building will come out here. We'll make that about, well, again, you're controlled really by your imagination, but that's 2.5 inches approximately. 2.5 inches, and I'll run that line in there. And the really important thing is where you place this horizon line and the perspective that you're going to run down to the horizon line. I'm going to use the extreme end of the horizon line to aim my perspective at. So I'm just using this stick. You might think this is a bit crude to use an old stick like this, but you only need it approximately. You don't need it precisely. I'm going to raise that a little bit here, and we'll come back to that in a few minutes, but the end of the building here is going to slope away here, just fractionally, and the top here is going to slope away here. We've got a beam comes out here, and we'll have beams running out on this all the way along. Now, the bottom of the building is going to aim at the same vanishing point, so again, you can move the building, you can move the bottom of the building up or down to suit yourself. Depending on whether you want it to be a double-storey place or just single ground level. But I'm running that to that perspective line there, and we're establishing the bottom of the building there, and then the side of the building is going to run away about there. Now we'll put a doorway in here, somewhere in here. There'll be a doorway in here. Could have it curved, of course. A couple of windows in here. But regardless of what you put in here, everything must be aimed towards that perspective down here. Terribly important. This roof will come past here a little bit, and then it will return back in that manner there. And we'll run some tiles and rubbish in right up the side of this roof. Now, in the distance, we can put a mountain in or a couple of hills in. Again, that's entirely up to your imagination. We'll run a bit of a snow-capped hill in over here perhaps. And the water, we could have this building close to the water. We could run the shoreline around here, which I have done on many of these sort of paintings, and we could have a little bit of shoreline here or promenade area. Yeah, you could run a rail along here and put balustrade and all this sort of thing. It's just endless what you can actually put into these things. Now, the colour that we should use here, I'm going to start with a blue sky, and I'm going to run in ultramarine blue and bring it down to a white or a pink underneath. I already have Prussian blue on this palette, but ultramarine is excellent for Mediterranean style paintings. But I'm going to start off with a little bit of pink in the lower sky, so we'll take a little white and a little bit of red, and I'm going to put just the tiniest speck of orange in it. It'll swing it just slightly towards an apricot. Now I'll run that in the lower sky. I've got a very thin coating of medium on this board, but I've also picked up a little bit of medium as well. And I'm going to run that around this hill here. Be careful not to shape this pink in the shape of a hill. Don't go up here and down here and make a pink hill. Use a crisscross action and creep up to the hill, overlap the hill a little bit, but don't follow the profile of the hill with the pink, whatever you do. Now we'll just run that just short of the building. And something very important, and that is to put the shading into the building that is necessary. And I'm going to just wash the brush, and I'm not going to take all of the terps out of it, just blot it a little bit, and I'm going to, with the terps in the brush, I'm going to run this black into the building. Now when I finish this little bit, it won't look all that impressive, but it serves as shadow underneath the paint when we put the paint on the board to finish the building. If you miss a little bit with the paint on the board, then you've got this underneath. And we'll get that all. I'm leaving this line here at the top and as a guide, and we'll just let that dry. The advantage of using that terps on there is that it will dry quite quickly, or start to dry quite quickly, and we can then get the other paint on over the top of it. All right, now the ultramarine blue that we want to run in the upper sky, we'll take a little bit of ultramarine and just a little white, and I'm not going to wash that brush. It's got a little bit of that black in it, but that doesn't matter. We'll run this ultramarine in the upper sky. Creep that across here. And we'll just darken the top of that sky initially. Creep along to the building here, and I'm going to just sneak a little bit in right up beside the building there and blend it away gently, gently towards that hill. And a little bit more over here. And we'll come back, just fuse that gently into the pink. We'll come back with a knife, and we could have the ultramarine blue and tiny bit of Payne's grey in that, but I'm going to pat it on with a knife. We want to just a shade dark. We want to get this really dark ultramarine blue at the top here. And gently, gently come down into the sky with that. A little more over here. And we'll slowly, slowly come down into the sky with that. And as we come down, we're going to change colour and get that pink into it. You don't want it too thick right up beside the building though. Be careful not to get it too thick. Although I'm patting the paint on there, I'm sliding the knife slightly too, so that we don't get it on too thick Now, I'm going to come back with a bit of pink and, well, just pat a little bit of this pink into the sky as well. Gently, gently run that away into that blue. And unfortunately, anything with a knife is usually very time consuming. And this is not sort of the place where you want something that's going to be time consuming, but there's nothing much you can do about it. A little bit of pink. I'm going to pick up a little bit of orange this time so that we match up this colour that we have at the bottom. And gently, gently run that away. We don't want to bring that dark blue down too low though. Gently, gently run that into that upper sky. Now, the hill itself, or the mountain itself, we could take that rough effect down a little bit further into here. The mountain on the left-hand side, or the hill on the left-hand side, I do have a little bit of a purplish colour here, which may be satisfactory. We could add a little white to it. And I'm going to wash the brush, and we'll see how that looks in here. That'll be satisfactory. I think that'll come up like $1 million. Just run that hill in there. I'm stroking it away, short strokes, 45-degree angle. But we're going to have it behind this guy over here. So we'll just make this other bloke a little bit darker. We could push it just a little bit more. And we're going to go to a break in a few minutes. But we'll see if we can get this on first. Just want this guy a little bit darker. Tiny bit bluer. That's about what we need. We'll run a bit of snow on him in a few minutes, but we could run this little bit of blue into the sky here. Down the side of the building, we'll just creep a little bit of this blue into the sky. Not quite the same colour as the other one, but it does not matter. I'm using a fan brush to do that. We'll go to a break, and then after the break we'll come back and continue with the painting. By the way, this is a 2-week painting too. Impossible to do this in 26 minutes. I'll see you after the break.